In this series of 4 short films entitled Language of Influence, we're going to be looking at how you can improve the way you influence others using language. And over the series of these 4 short films, considering the whole spectrum of communication. Beginning in this first section with a look at context. Now clearly the context for these films is to help you improve your communication in your business and professional life. And I'm sure you're already aware that in business, in your professional world, you need to give more thought to the outcomes you want from your communication. Flippant or sarcastic comments, which could be described as banter in your social life, could actually cause you untold embarrassment professionally. Indeed, it's imperative that you gain an understanding of timing and context in your surroundings when communicating. Whether you're a business leader, a salesperson, or somebody that just wants to improve their communication with their colleagues. This understanding of context and surroundings is important when considering how people receive your message. Which leads us to the number 1 rule of communication, which it's what the receiver gets is more important than what you think you send. The interpretation of the listener is where the real impact of communication lies. Or put another way, to really get the most out of the language we use is to understand the whole spectrum of communication and not just the words we use. It's long been accepted that our verbal language is actually delivered in 3 chunks. Words form 7% of our communication. Our tone of voice delivers 38% of the communication, and the largest part is actually our physiology or our body language, which delivers 55% and includes our facial expressions. So, people take much more notice of your body language than the actual words that you use. Think about the number of times where you've been in conversation with someone and then afterwards thought, well, I could see what they were saying, but it just didn't grab me. I heard the words, but for some reason I just didn't get the message. Now, this is normally an example of where people's body language is not congruent with the words that they use. Or maybe more importantly, their body language is not actually congruent with the emotional tone that they attach to the message. Have you ever been the victim of a motivational speech by a chief executive who is not an accomplished speaker? Whilst the words are carefully crafted and designed to motivate and inspire, the delivery leaves you flat. This is a fantastic example of the power of body language. Try this exercise. Record a TV program that you haven't seen before and watch it first time through without any sound. See if you can figure out the plot, the roles that the main characters play. Make a note of the key scenes and the emotions that you see. Now, rerun that program with the sound. And you'll be amazed at your ability to identify emotions and feelings purely from body language and the key elements of communication. Therefore, if you want your language to be really influential, all your communication to really influence others, give great consideration to your posture and the gestures that you use. For example, if you want to be decisive, or you want to communicate to other people that you're a decisive person, think about somebody that you know who is decisive. Get a clear image of them in your mind's eye and look at the posture they use. Probably they stand erect with their shoulders back. The gestures they use will probably be lots of pointing gestures and hand chopping. So think about the facial expressions. Do they smile? Do they frown? Do they have their head tilted to one side? How much nodding do they do? These are all clues in how you can adapt your own style to be more decisive by matching and mirroring the gestures and the posture of really decisive people. So, physiology represents 55% of our communication. But if we get that right, that means that we can improve by a further 45%, 38% with our emotional tone, and 7% in the way that we use our words. In the next film, we're going to show you how you can maximize the potential of your emotional tone. But for now, remember, focus on that body language, and I look forward to seeing you in part 2.